Do you identify as a person who stutters or a stutterer, whichever way you'd like to say it? I've met a lot of people who do stutter, who do want to identify as a person who stutters, and others who would do anything not to have that identity put on them. If you're one of those people, you might have traveled a whole long distance just to avoid a telephone conversation. Or maybe you ordered what you didn't want in a restaurant, and that wasn't very pleasant. But you just didn't want people to know that you stutter. I've had everybody who comes to me fill out a little scale of the things that they do or that relate to their stuttering. And almost everybody, almost, not everybody, but almost everybody says that to a large degree they don't want to talk about stuttering. They don't want to be open about it. And then there are other people who say, that's who I am. I am a person who stutters. I stutter. I'm a stutterer. And that's not going to change. That is me. And without my stuttering, I don't know who I'd be. So these people have a real strong identity as a stutterer. Now, there's no right and wrong here, and there's no value judgment to be put on either way of looking at it. But I think the whole idea of identity is something that we need to look at a little bit more, because what is your identity? It's different descriptions of you at a certain moment in time. I have had many identities. I've been Karen and Sharona's mom. People introduce me, not by Barbara. Oh, hi, I want you to meet Sharona's mom. Or I have been identified as a speech clinician. That's not who I am. It's part of me. It's a part of my life. Being my children's mom is a big part of my life. But these things are not who I am. I have been single, I have been married, I have been divorced and married again, and now, not very happily, I'm a widow. None of these things are my identity. None of these things are really who I am. And if I thought they were, I wouldn't be able to move on. I wouldn't be able to accept that my children have gone out of the nest. And although they're still my children and I'm still their mother on a day-to-day basis, I don't have the things about being a mom that I once had. And I had to adjust. And now I have to adjust to other things. But let's not just take things like that. Let's take personality characteristics. Like, I was a really shy kid. I was one of those kids that said very little. And I could have taken that as my identity, Barbara the shy one. But through my life, I knew that this wasn't going to get me where I needed to go. I couldn't imagine myself making videos or talking to people at conferences. I couldn't even talk in front of my whole family. But I knew that that wasn't what was good for me. So I needed to not keep that identity as being Barbara the shy one. I had to change and do things that were good for me. So I think looking at your identity in either way, as a stutterer or somebody who would never stutter, is sort of missing the boat. I think that looking at yourself as a dynamic person who can do many things would be more beneficial. And what is it to stutter? To stutter is to use brain processing that is different than people who don't stutter. Why? Is it structural? Is it functional? There's a lot out there, and it's really interesting, and we're learning more every day. But it is, at least some of the time, using certain brain processes that are not what people usually use to speak, and the brain processes are much more complicated, sort of put your brain in overdrive and give you a feeling of tension and make it difficult for the speech to come out smoothly. Okay, that's what it is. It's not a bad thing. It's nothing that requires shame or embarrassment, although I know a lot of people who feel that way. But it is just part of the way your brain is working. Does your brain always have to work that way? Absolutely not. And that's dynamic and changeable. So if you hold on to that identity that you're a person who stutters, and that's who I am, what will happen if you started using your brain more naturally? Would you lose who you are? I don't think so. And on the other hand, if you're working so hard not to let people know you stutter, all you're doing is trying to control your speech, and that's making it harder to talk. So either way, taking that as an identity rather than as something that goes on within you that is changeable, maybe you're doing yourself a disservice. Think about it. That's what I would like you to write down in the comments below. Do you identify as a person who stutters or stutterer? Or do you do everything in your power to avoid it? Or do you just see stuttering as something that you do? It's part of your way of functioning some of the time, and it could be changeable. Let me know what you think about this. And if you like these videos that I put out with my ideas about stuttering and how I can help you if you are a person who does stutter some of the time, then let me know. Subscribe, and I will answer some of the requests that I have gotten for videos. I am going to be fulfilling them soon, so stay tuned. Bye for now.